Hello and welcome to episode 5 of Droning On with Altius Images. I'm Todd Dudley and I'm the founder and director of Altius Images, and in this Droning On series I will be interviewing people in the drone industry. Today I'm delighted to be joined by Ash Hartwell, who's the founder of Quadrallax, a commercial drone service provider. Ash is based in the southwest in Weston-super-Mare and is experienced with photography and videography. We hope you enjoy the podcast. So I'm delighted to be joined by Ash Hartwell, who's the founder of Quadrallax. Ash, hello, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad. You okay?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Very good. Are you keeping yourself busy?
Yep, always busy.
Good. So, Ash, let's jump straight in. If you could give us just a little bit of background about yourself, and let's start with what sort of got you into the drone world.
Well, it all started off really. Some friends of mine, they all sort of got themselves a little drone club together. They were all buying their drones and that, and they sort of said, "Oh, do you want to come along?" So I went along and had a look, and I thought, this is quite interesting because I've always had an interest in sort of radio controlled stuff. In the past, I've had planes, cars, that sort of stuff. So I went along and had a look, and ended up buying myself a drone. I bought a little Hubson, which is a nice little starter drone, just to see how I got on, and then started doing that. And within, I'd probably say 3 to 4 weeks, maybe a bit longer of having that, I turned around and went from that and ended up buying a DJI Inspire 1, which is a bit of a jump.
a little bit.
Yeah, just a bit. So I started flying that around within the drone group, just a hobbyist, just taking a few pictures and a bit of video. And then I sat there and I looked watching my videos and that, and I was just sort of thinking, do you know what? I wonder if I could turn this into something a bit more. Whether sort of
Yeah.
like I could do it for, maybe earning a bit of money, maybe start a small business just to see how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically where it all sort of came about.
Okay, cool.
So what I'd done is I had a look into obviously all the training, what qualifications you needed, and then I ended up signing up for a week-long course for my PIFCO.
Yep.
And just sort of jumped straight in at the deep end. Went into that, done my week's course, passed my flight test, and then just went on from there really. And it is where it is today.
Love that. Yeah, that sounds like a fairly similar story to me. I think starting off as a hobbyist and then jumping into
definitely.
the deep end pretty quickly. For anyone listening that's not a commercial drone pilot and are wondering what a PIFCO is, that's a permission for commercial operations. So it's basically you need one of those to do any commercial work. So how long have you had your PIFCO? How long ago was that?
That was 2 years ago.
Okay.
So I've had my PIFCO for 2 years.
Okay, great.
Yeah, just over 2 years. Yeah, just under 2 years actually. Yeah.
Okay. Coming up to renewal time, or have you got a bit of time for that?
No. There was a gap between my first year and my second year. There's a little bit of a gap.
Mm-hmm.
It ran out in December 2019, but I didn't renew it till about March. Obviously, because the weather wasn't good.
Yeah.
And I was sort of umming and ahhing whether to carry on with it or not.
Yeah. Okay.
And then obviously I got to the point where I was thinking, okay, let's carry on with this and give it another shot and see where this year can take.
Great. Good. Well, glad to have you back in the drone world.
Good, yeah.
So what? Right back at the start then. So like 2 years ago or so. What work did you start out doing?
The first thing I sort of really done was I was advertising for just straightforward aerial photography, that sort of thing. And then my first job was I was approached by a holiday park near Weston-super-Mare, asking if I could do them a promotional video because I also had a handheld video camera as well.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'd done is I made them a promotional video using part aerial, part land.
Yep.
Video, and sort of made a little promotional video out of it. So that was a couple of minute video which I made for those, and that was really the first thing that I actually produced as Quadrallax.
Nice. That's always a good feeling, isn't it, to get that first job and get paid for the first time.
Yeah, because you make the video, you sit there and you sit there for hours editing it, putting the music on it, and then you show it to the customer, and your first thought is, oh, I hope they like it.
Yeah, exactly. And usually they're always quite nice, which is good.
Yeah, they are. They were like, oh well, that's brilliant. And I was thinking, okay, that's good reaction. And I said to them, if there's anything you want changing, anything you want tweaking, but they said no, they'll take it exactly as it was.
Happy days. That is exactly what you want to get things running. That is perfect.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
So then, since then, we've obviously had a year or two. Where has the company's focus gone from now? What kind of stuff have you done since then, and what are you up to now, and that kind of stuff?
It hasn't been overly brilliant, to be honest. It's been a bit hard trying to find work.
Mm.
I've had a few bits here and there. I've done a few estate agent photographs for people, aerial photographs for houses for sale.
Mm-hmm.
I've also done. It was by chance, really. I was down flying on Western Seafront,
Mm-hmm.
and the RNLI came out to do some training, and I just asked them if they'd mind if I would just do some footage of them while they were in sort of milling around in Western Bay, and said, yeah, that's fine. So I took some video of them, and it sort of grew from there. I sort of ended up having quite a good relationship with the RNLI in Western, and ended up being one of their official registered drone pilots.
Oh, great.
So now I can produce stock footage for them. It's all voluntary and for free because obviously they're a charity, and obviously it gives me a bit of exposure as well. So yeah, so I took some footage for them and some photographs which pop up on Facebook and Instagram every now and again. I sort of like flicking through and I think, oh, there's one of my pictures come up again.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's quite nice. It's sort of like a bit of free promotion, as you like. Plus, it's sort of giving back to them as well.
yeah, for sure. That sounds like a nice contact to have.
Yeah, no, it's worked out really well. That has.
Good.
Apart from that, the other things I've done is just say promotional videos, things like that. I've been trying to get into. There's a lot of building sites going on in and around this area,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been trying to get in to do progression images. So every couple
Yeah.
of weeks, go up, take a few photos and a few videos, and that I've been trying to sort of promote that side of things. Just sort of pushing that out there to see if I can get any work on that side of things. And also, I've done a few roof surveys for people, just checking everything's okay. I found a few problems, obviously, people that have had fixed
Yeah.
because they had leaks or whatever, and we've managed to sort them out. So that's been quite good as well.
Okay. Yeah, sure. So it sounds like you're sort of like dipping your toe in a few little things and sort of finding your way, which is nice.
Yeah, they do sort of say try and stick to one, specialize in one area. But at the moment, I'm just trying to find that area for myself.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Yeah.
it's just trying the different things and trying to work out what it is that I'm best at and what's the best thing for me to help people with as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think that advice to stay in one area is lovely if you can get the work in one area.
Exactly. Yeah. Sometimes it's not always easy to get work in just one field. You have to sort
Exactly.
of spread your wings a little bit.
Exactly. And yeah, I don't know about you, but I sort of have times where one sector will be really busy and then that'll die down for a little bit. So then I'll think about another sector and that kind of stuff. So I sort of have started to specialise, but only for like 2 months at a time, and then I'll go on to something different and then something different again. So
Yeah. It's you sort of look in the drone world and you see all these new latest things coming out, like you got all the LiDAR scanners and you've got all the infrared stuff and that, and you look at it and you think it'd be nice to get into that.
yeah,
But then when you look at the cost of it,
yeah,
it's sort of like, yeah, that's sort of getting a bit out of my price range to
yeah,
start with. I think I need to
exactly.
build up a bit more before I start entering that,
Yeah, for sure.
buying that sort of equipment.
Exactly. So we've touched on it a little bit there, but what do you think, or what would you like the future to hold for your company, for Quadrallax?
It would be nice if I would like to sort of do sort of construction side of things, progression photos. That would be quite nice because it's nice to see how things develop, and it's also good for the customer because then they can see how it's developing. It's good that they can use the material as well for to show bosses or people who own these sites. They can see how much it's developing, run that side of things. So that's the sort of things I'm sort of like aiming at the
Mm-hmm.
moment. That's that sort of thing. I'm also started doing a bit of photography as well, so I started to mix that in with it as well. So obviously you can do your aerial photos of the site, and you can also do land-based photography as well of the site. So that's the sort of area I'm sort of poking at the moment.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. Well, if anyone is listening and wants to get in touch, then I'll link your website down below. But it's quadrallax.co.uk, and I'll link that down below. So if anyone's got any work for Ash, then get in touch.
Brilliant.
So going at actually, I want to ask you about your Inspire first of all. Are you still flying the Inspire?
No, I've actually the Inspire one was nice. It was a nice drone to fly, but I did find that it was a bit big.
Yes.
I did find that if you were flying somewhere within close proximity of people, it was because it was so loud as well. It would draw attention.
Yeah.
The just the sheer noise of it, as well as the size of it, was drawing attention. Plus, it was a bit too big if you wanted to do construction, as for an example, doing construction sites. You don't want to get too close to something with something that size.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
what I've done is I've sold the Inspire, and I've bought the new Mavic Air 2.
Oh, great. Okay, nice.
Absolutely done. Yeah, that's absolutely spot on. You get some really nice video, nice photographs. There's some nice features built in as well. And yeah, I'm getting on really well with that drone. It's quite nice.
Nice. It's pretty crazy the sort of image quality you can get from such a tiny drone, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing because when you look at the actual spec between the Inspire 1 and the Mavic Air 2, for actual video and camera wise, it's the Mavic Air 2 is, even though it's probably a third of the size, the actual quality you're getting is better than what I was getting out of the Inspire.
Yeah, which is pretty nuts, and I can't really even imagine where how much better it's going to get over the next few years as well. It just seems to sort of at least double in quality every single year. So God knows where it's going to go.
Absolutely, yeah.
Nice, sounds good, and probably a little bit easier to fly than Inspire as well.
Yeah. It is it's a little bit more easier to fly. Like I said, it gives you a bit more flexibility if you want to get somewhere remote, because obviously with the Inspire you basically had as good as a suitcase to carry the drone in, where now you can, I've got a small little rucksack which everything fits in, so if you need to get somewhere where you can't get the car, it's a lot easier to get to access.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, that's brilliant. So let's sort of expand out a little bit wider into the drone industry, sort of as a whole. Anyone that's listened to this podcast before, to our Drone Positive podcast, will know that we've spoken about drones delivering medicine and drones finding people that have been attacked by sharks and all that kind of stuff. So they're used for plenty of good. But what do you reckon, Ash? What do you think the future holds for drones and the drone industry in general?
You see a lot, obviously, on the TV and on obviously the drone websites and that, about obviously parcel deliveries and that. I'm a bit skeptical about the parcel delivery things, because you sort of think, there's a lot around safety of people and buildings and that sort of thing. You sort of think drone deliveries, I'm not too sure about that one.
Yeah.
As far as medical is concerned, I think they're good, especially if to access remote places quickly.
Yeah.
I think that's a good one. And obviously I've seen like the RNLI use similar ones, or Coast Guard use them to drop life buoys off to people or medical equipment. I think those ones are good. Drone taxis is another one that you see a lot of at the moment. I don't know where that's going, but I'm not entirely sure whether I'd want to sit in a drone that's going to fly me somewhere without a pilot in there. I'm not quite sure whether that would be for me personally, but the way technology is advancing at the moment, who knows where it's going to go. There's a lot of air traffic in the air as it is with aeroplanes. I don't know. It's going to be a massive infrastructure to try and sort that one out. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's the tricky thing, isn't it? I did see something in the news the other day that there are initial plans being drawn up to make sort of drone highways in the UK. So sort of you can't just fly around wherever you want, but you almost have like roads in the sky where you can follow these paths, which makes a lot of sense to me. So that could be the way to go, maybe.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. But then obviously the only thing is that the more you've got flying around in the air, it's going to be less area for commercial pilots to fly.
Yeah.
When they're trying to do their job as well. You've obviously, at the moment, obviously when you do your license, you've got all these. You need to learn about all the air references and where everything is and all that lot. To add that into it as well. I mean, it's quite complicated as it is, but to add that in as well, yeah, it's going to make life a little bit more difficult for the commercial pilot. That's for sure.
Definitely, and that actually leads me nicely on to my next question. Are you optimistic about the future of drones, or do you worry that, like you've just touched on there, the sort of regulations, the paperwork, the legislation, and all of that kind of stuff, do you worry that that might put people off becoming commercial drone pilots? Or
I think at the moment, yes. At the moment, the current PIFCO at the moment is there's a lot of paperwork to do a job. You've got a lot of paperwork to do, even if it's a small job. With all your maps and your flyaway zones and all this, you've really got to do a lot of paperwork before you can even take off.
yeah,
So I think the new laws and the new certifications that are coming in, the GVC and the A2, is it the A2As and
A2A or yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah, all that, yeah, got all that coming in. That sounds like it's going to make it a lot easier for commercial pilots. You'd be able to, because at the moment, obviously, you can't take off within 50 meters of a building or within 30 meters of people.
Yeah.
So that's going to be massively reduced if you're flying a drone that's under a certain weight, which is going to make it a lot easier for commercial pilots to do photography in a more of a built-up area. So I think the new laws that are coming in and the new licensing ways that are coming in, I think it's going to be a lot better and a lot easier for drone pilots to actually do their job. But at the moment, in the current paperwork, in that is just horrendous before you can even take off. So I think the new laws are going to be better and make it easier for people to do commercial work. But then for us that have already been done off PIFCO, have been working for a few years, the only downside is that a lot more people it's easier for a lot more people to do commercial work now, or it will be when the new laws come in. So obviously there's a upside for us, but then there's obviously a downside as well, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think. I mean, finally, it seems like that some common sense is prevailing with those laws, because yeah, like you say, the amount of paperwork we have to do just to perform a flight is a bit ridiculous.
Yeah. So hopefully, say when all this lot comes in, it'll make it easier for us, because it's almost like some ways you sort of think, I don't know whether they started off making it difficult to sort of, if somebody's going to do their license and they're going to put the effort in to do the paperwork, then obviously you have to be serious about doing it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, like you say, the good thing there is that if it is difficult and people are doing a good job because they've got to follow all these paperwork, then it should hopefully give drones a better reputation.
Yeah.
But then there is the difficulty of the people that are operating commercially sort of without the PIFCO, and there's plenty of that happening, which is a shame.
Yeah,
so
there is. Yeah. I mean, I've seen it a few times. I mean, I've seen posts on the internet where people have got. I saw one the other day actually of a video that was quite close to a fun fair.
Yeah.
And I actually commented it and said, who did you get permission from? Did you get it from the local council or the fun fair owners? And the reply was, no, I was just passing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So it's so it's a lot. There is some understanding of of what's required. So obviously, the only trouble is anybody can go out and buy a drone and just go out and fly it.
Yeah.
But so somebody who doesn't know about the law or what needs to be done, it's easy enough to do. There's no sort of law or regulation against actually buying a drone.
No, correct.
So whether that needs to be done or not, I don't know. That's something that they need to work out, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. But like you say, hopefully these new regulations are a good step forward in that.
Absolutely.
So we're recording on the 4th of November, so the day before lockdown 2.0 comes into place. How are you feeling about the next month? Do you think are you hoping that you'll still get a bit of work, or what do you think?
Yeah, I'm hoping to. I'll carry on plugging it. I've put a post up already saying that we will be working if people require us, because obviously we're going to be working outside, right in the open. We'll be doing, obviously, if there's any sort of construction side that needs to be doing, that's continuing. Any manufacturing's continuing, so obviously we can still work around those fields. We'll still be obviously being COVID safe, with face masks, keeping our distance, and all that sort of thing. So we are still working. So yeah, as long as it's outside and there's plenty of space, there's no reason why we can't still be working.
Yeah, that was what I found in the last lockdown. That actually, there's, as long as people are happy to keep spending the money, which some weren't, then actually there's still plenty of work that can be done very, very safely.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, from that point of view, it's a good industry to be in. Okay, Ash, we will finish, if that's okay, with just a few sort of more quick fire, less long answers, if that's all right.
Yep.
So first one, I think I might know the answer to this, but what is your favourite drone to fly and why?
I would probably say my Mavic Air 2 because it's small and it's light. Plus, to be honest, it's pretty good in the wind as well. It's quite a good flying in the wind, where some of them they don't seem to fare too well. But I found the Mavic Air 2 is pretty good for that.
You must get a bit of wind on filming down in Western, I'd have thought.
Yeah, it does get a bit breezy down here. But yeah, sort of 20, 25 mile an hour winds. It doesn't seem to have any problems with.
Nice. Again, testament to how much improvement they've made over the last few years.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, second one. What is your favourite place to fly and why?
Oh, that's a good one. I do like to fly sort of down and around Western Seafront. I have to get permission from the council before I do it, because obviously we've got seafront rangers. I like to come over and have a nose to see what you're doing.
Yeah.
And obviously, yeah, it's quite interesting because you've got, especially in the RNLI, right? You like to chase them around the bay. Obviously, we've got the pier down the seafront, and yeah, no, that's quite a nice area to fly down the bottom there, especially with the old Burnbeck Pier as well. You get some good pictures of that as well.
Yeah, I'm sure I've seen some of those on your website. Actually, they look very cool. But bizarrely, my parents used to have a little holiday home down in Weston-super-Mare, so I spent a lot of time in Weston as a kid.
Right.
So yeah, I know the pier well, and I remember being devastated when I found out that it had burned down. Okay, next one. Maybe a tricky one, but what is your most challenging flight to date, and why was it so challenging?
Well, one of the most challenging flights that I had again was with the RNLI. They were spreading the ashes of a young lad in Western Bay. They really wanted the parents really wanted it publicised because he was a big blogger and he was followed by a lot of people because he had a rare form of cancer.
Oh wow!
And the day of spreading the ashes is with the Inspire 1, and it was blowing a gale.
Right.
And I didn't think I was going to be able to fly because it was that bad. But luckily, we managed to find an area in the harbour where it was a little bit protected. So I went for it. And a few times I got a bit scared when the drone was bobbing up and down a bit,
Yeah.
especially over the sea. But we managed to pull it off, and we managed to do it. It was a bit of a hairy landing as well in that wind, but yeah, we managed to do it. We managed to get the footage that they needed.
Excellent. That's a great story, and I'm glad you managed to get the flight done. Okay, and the next one. If you could film somewhere or something that you've never filmed before, what would it be? And you don't have to worry about the planning or whether you're actually allowed to fly there and all that kind of stuff. You can just rock up and film. What would it be?
I've always wanted to fly, maybe somewhere like Kemble Airfield, where they've got all the old, where all the planes go to be scrapped. There's quite
cool.
a few sort of carcasses of aeroplanes around, and there's quite a few planes with just engine cowls with no engines in, and I've been up there a few times, and I look around the place, and I think it'd be quite an interesting place to get some pretty good videos from flying around some of those old planes, I think.
That sounds very cool. Have you ever inquired about that? Or?
I have inquired, but the extortionate rates that they wanted me to pay to fly up there, it just wasn't worth it.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. And then the last question: if you could make one change to the drone industry, what would the change be and why?
Oh, that's a good one. Probably it's probably the change that they're actually making. To be fair, the biggest change I would do would obviously make it a little bit easier. I think the amount of paperwork that you have to do I can see why you have to do it, but I think some of it is probably not doesn't need to be as complicated as it is.
Yeah.
So I would have like to have seen it made to a simpler process. But obviously they're doing that, so it'll be interesting to see when it comes in, just to see whether they tweak it, whether they change it at all, or whether they keep it the way it is. But I think they're going the right way.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a very good step forward, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. So am I. Absolutely.
And then before we go, Ash, firstly, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. It's been great to chat to you. And I just want you to let people know where they can find you.
Yeah, sure. You can find me I'm on Facebook. If you just search for Quadrallax. I'm also on Instagram, which is under Quadrallax_drone. And obviously my website, which you've mentioned before, which is quadrallax.co.uk. Just have a look on there and you can see what I do. And if there's anything I can help anybody with, just send me a message or give me a call.
Okay, that sounds brilliant, Ash. Thank you very much. I'll put all of those links in the podcast description down below. So please do go and check out Quadrallax everywhere you can find them. And if you need any work in Western Supermare or the Southwest, get in touch with Ash at Quadrallax. Ash, thanks very much for your time today. Great to chat. Speak to you soon.
Brilliant. Cheers. Bye.
And that does it for episode 5 of the Droning On with Altius Images podcast. Thank you very much to Ash at Quadrallax for his time. It's great to chat to him. As I said, you can find links to his website and all of his social medias down below in the podcast description. Please do get in touch with us on social media. We are at Altius Images on Twitter and Instagram, and you can find us easily enough on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and even TikTok too. All of the links for our channels are down below in the podcast description as well. So do please reach out. We would love to hear from you. If you haven't listened to the podcast before and you haven't listened to our Drone Positive series, in which we share a positive story from the drone industry, then go back in our feed and look out for those episodes, as they're well worth listen. And we will hopefully be releasing a new one of those next week, having had a little bit of time off. But for now, thank you for listening, guys. Please subscribe to and share the podcast so that we can spread it as far and wide as possible. We will hopefully see you next Monday for the next episode of the Drone Positive podcast. But for now, fly safe and stay safe, folks. Bye-bye.